Alright, what's up guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video guys, we're going to be checking out all of the black cards from OP08. Because guys, yes, I understand we will not see these cards for another 4 months in the West, or at least be able to play with the physical copies of these cards. But they're already released in the East. So you're going to start hearing about it locally, people talking about this card or this deck or that deck that's coming out. And you need to be able to know what they're talking about, or you start feeling real lost. You know what I mean? You start feeling like, what are y'all talking about? Oh, the game we're playing. So, you know, it is good for us to stay on top of this and make sure we stay ahead of the game in that way. So, guys, we got the black cards today. Let me give you a quick layout of how this video is going to go. First and foremost, the majority of this video is going to be all about the black cards. Okay, a full review of all the OP08 black cards. And then from there, we're going to check out, you know, some of the black decks, how they're doing in the East already. You know, just early meta. This is nothing to, you know, invest in yet, but, you know, we can at least get an idea of what direction the decks might be going. Decks like OP07 Lucci or even OP06 Gecko Moria with some of these new cards. Okay, from there, we're going to check out a game on the sim. Me playing Smoker. Very, very fun game. We'll check that out as well. And then we'll end with just a deck tech. You know, I'll do my final thoughts and wrap up on the video at that point. So you know what you're getting into. We got some spoilers, obviously. So let's just go ahead and dive into it, guys, because we got a lot to talk about. Excuse me. Okay, so first up here, guys, is King. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on explaining the leader because I've already done that in a previous video, and where I reviewed all the leaders, and I'll have that linked down in the comment section below if you are interested in checking that out. And you definitely should if you've not checked it out already, because I go into a lot more detail there. So yeah, but real quick, I will at least read through the leader and tell you what I think about it. So let me explain this real quick. The red cards in OP08 were much more geared towards Drum Island and animal types for Chopper, the new Chopper leader coming out. The green cards were more Minks for Carrot. The blue cards were more Whitebeard Pirates for Ace. And then what was next? Purple was more for like Big Mom Pirates. And the black cards in this set are majority Animal Kingdom Pirates. So it is good to like kind of see how they'll synergize with this leader. Okay, excuse me. So first up here is King. It is a 4-life, 5,000 power leader. Very standard. Animal Kingdom Pirates type. And the activate main is Dawn -2. Once per turn, of course. Activate main once per turn. Dawn -2. You get to choose one of these options. Either, you know, if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, you can draw a card, which is extremely, extremely useful. Or give up to one of your opponent's characters -2 cost for this turn. And I just want to mention, it's not like Perona, the 4-cost, 5,000 power, 2K Thriller Bark Perona card, where it's like if your opponent has 5 cards, then you get to choose an option. This isn't like that. This is just you get to do either one of these options, but the first action won't happen unless you have 5 or less cards in hand, right? So it doesn't matter if your opponent has 1 card in hand. You can still do the bottom action, where it's like give up one of your opponent's characters -2 cost for the turn. Because I just want to make sure you guys understood that, because with Perona, there's like a stipulation, and this one isn't like that. So in other words, if you have 6 or more cards in hand, you can still give one of your opponent's characters -2 cost for the turn. But if you want to draw a card, you have to have 5 or less cards in hand. Okay, very solid leader. Like I said, I've done an entire, you know, talk on this in another video, and I'll link that down below if you want to know my full thoughts on it. Okay, first up is Ulti. We got an easy one, 4-cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter, Animal Kingdom Pirates type. This is just simply a vanilla character. 5 out of 10. That's what I give all of my vanilla characters. Okay, but we're going from there right into a good one. We got 9-cost, 9,000 power Kaido here. Sorry, guys, got to scratch my ear. 9-cost, 9,000 power Kaido, former Rocks Pirate, Animal Kingdom Pirates type. And the effect is activate main once per turn. You may trash 1 card from your hand, okay? If this character was played on this turn, trash up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 7 or less. So trash them, not KO them. Then your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand. So you're establishing a body and trashing one of your opponents, and then you're trashing a card from your hand, and now your opponent has to trash a card as well. This card is just like a flat-out 9 out of 10. I guess I'll just go right with the stat line, right? 9 cost, 9,000 power, 9 out of 10 rating. This card is very, very strong. Even in, like, consider this in a deck like, notice it's not leader locked, right? Notice there's no leader locking going on here. So imagine this in Lucci. If you're playing OP07 Lucci and you have a stage version of the deck, you can get rid of any card in the game with this character just by attacking and using your leader's effect. or excuse me, in attacking and using your stage effect. You can hit a 10 or less. Trashing it, by the way. So even if it cannot be KO'd, it's out of here. This card is incredibly solid. It's a 9-cost, 9K. It's very good. It's a little bit clunky, right? Like, what's going to be the perfect number to run in your deck? What kind of deck you're going to want to run this in? There's a lot of questions, right? But overall, this is a very powerful card. Sorry, guys, my throat. So one thing I do want to mention, though, is, okay, the reason it's worded like this, notice it's an activate main. This should be a once per turn. Okay, or excuse me, it is a once per turn. But it's really a once only, because it's only on the turn you played this character that you can activate this effect. It's activate main once per turn, trash 1 card from your hand, and then, if this character was played this turn, or on this turn, trash up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 7 or less, and then your opponent trashes a card from their hand. The reason it's worded like this and not as an on-play is so that way you can combo it with your leader's effect. Let me go back to the leader. This guy, King, like, he's obviously geared more for this kind of leader. This is Animal Kingdom Pirates type leader as well. So the idea is, okay, you can play out your character, right? The 9-cost Kaido, and then return to Dawn with your leader's effect to do -2 cost for the turn. And then you can activate the main of this character to pop anything that's a 9 or less. So very, very powerful interaction there. That's why it's worded the way it is. Good stuff, though. Really good stuff here. This is a very strong card, I have to say. I give this a 9 out of 10. Okay, we got the first alt art for the characters here. Okay. This dude is massive looking. Like, look at the shoulder. I mean, he looks like a mountain, right? That is crazy. And the way that this is, like, I have seen other pictures of, I mean, we can see another picture of Kaido over here. That's clearly a tattoo, and it looks like a tattoo here. But on this picture, it almost looks like a burn or something. Do y'all see what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be overly critical. You guys know I love art. But it looks more like a burn than anything else. Like, this is exposed flesh. But it still looks very awesome. I love the way they did, you know, the veins are just protruding. This is like, you know, this guy is an absolute beast, right? He looks so super, super powerful. Good stuff here. Great art. Love that teal with the pinks. Just looks great. Okay, and this one's a lot like the purple 9-cost Linlin that we saw from yesterday's video. If you have not checked that out, I will leave that down in the comment section below for you to check out. There was an art that had very similar hockey, just like the way it, like, excuse me, the way that the hockey frames the picture. It looks really good, just like this one. They're probably meant to match, right, for like a purple-black Animal Kingdom Pirates, Big Mom Pirates combination deck. Very cool. Okay, next up we got Queen. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter, Animal Kingdom Pirates type. On play, okay, it's a top 5 searcher. Look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Animal Kingdom Pirates type card other than Queen and add it to your hand. Okay, that's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate they made this a Queen, right? Because now you can't even search up the 5-cost purple Queen. That's Animal Kingdom Pirates type. The 5-cost blocker, 6,000 power, 1K counter. On play, Dawn -1, draw 2, trash 1. You can't even search that up with this card. That's unfortunate. That is really, really unfortunate. But it's not the end of the world. It's still a very powerful searcher for Animal Kingdom Pirates. But I'm just going to give it a 7 out of 10. That's what I give all of the little 1-cost 2K top 5 searchers. Okay, whoa, check this out. This is another alt art already. I guess we're getting all these over with up front. This is a really nice picture. Like, this one's really interesting. I'm not exactly sure what's even going on in the background. There is, like, it looks like there's a gate back here behind his head, and just total chaos, total destruction. But man, this weapon here he has looks really cool as well. Okay, very cool. Next up we have Guernica. I'm not sure how to say that exactly, but this guy is a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter, CP0 agent, or CP0 type. The effect is, when attacking, you may place 3 cards with a type including CP from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. Excuse me, at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 0. Nope. I would like this if it was an on-play / when attacking, but as is, I don't have much to say about this. I mean, it is a card that technically they'd have to, you know, your opponent may have to deal with. But overall, you know, this is a 1-cost card that's only 2,000 power. Red Purple Law just wipes this off the board with the leader effect. Any kind of Lucci deck will just KO this for free with their Brook or with like a, you know, what's his name, Rob Lucci or something. I'm not a huge fan of this one. I'm just going to tell you guys right now. But maybe this is going to be decent. Like, y'all hear me out. I've been doing a little bit of playing on the sim, okay? And there are a lot of strong aggro decks right now. So maybe against some of the red aggro decks that are coming out from like Zoro or Red-Green Chopper, maybe this will be pretty good into those. We'll have to see. But as is, I'm just going to give it a 5 out of 10. I just think it's... I would rather have a vanilla card here, but this does have the upside of if it sticks, you're going to be able to start KOing characters potentially. 0 cost, right? So you'll have to invest just to KO something, but it's better than nothing. I'm just going to give it a 5 out of 10. Next up, we have Sasaki. This is a 1 cost, 1,000 power, 2k counter, Animal Kingdom Pirates type. Excuse me. The effect is activate main, rest one of your Dawn cards, and you may rest this character, and then give up to one of your opponent's characters -2 cost during this turn. Okay, so this is like a version of, what's her name, of Suru. But the problem is you're having to rest a Dawn to do... So this is basically a 2 cost -2. But I guess where it kind of makes up for it... Wait a minute. Yeah, you do have to rest this character as well. So you're not going to be able to bring this back with Gecko and then use it while it's rested. Now, if you want to somehow, you know, if you want to use Gecko and bring back like a 4 cost and rest that and bring this character back into play unrested, which you can do that... yeah, then you could use the effect, but you have to be able to tap 1 Dawn as well. So this is like a worse version of Suru in my personal opinion. Now, yes, if it can somehow stick, it does have potential like long-term value, right? Like potentially over the course of the game, it will get more and more value. But I have to say I'd rather just have Suru, especially the way the game is designed currently. But I'm still going to give this I'll give this a 7 out of 10, or a 7, actually, I think 2K counters, I always start with 7 out of 10 and go up from there. This one is at least a cost reducer, but you have to tap this character and a Dawn card in order to use it. Well, it does give them something to swing into. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's just a very solid 2K counter. Okay, next up, we have Sheep's Head. This is a 2 cost, 3,000 power, 1,000 counter, Animal Kingdom Pirates type, Smile type as well. That has the effect of Dawn ×1 on your turn. Give all of your opponent's characters -1 cost. Okay, so again, it looks like they're trying to make some type of little, like, small version for black, almost like an aggro, intense version for the black decks, where, like, you could play a card, like, even though this is CP0 and this guy's Animal Kingdom, if you were to, like, combo these off, you would, and then, like, for your 3-drop, have something like Brook, you could have a very low-to-the-ground deck that has a lot of KO built in, which could be interesting, which could be very interesting. But I will say this, like, as is, for what the card is, like, you know, just as it is, I have to give this just a 5.5 out of 10. Because this isn't really much better than a vanilla card. In fact, it's worse than a vanilla card in the stats, but the effect that's supposed to bring it back to average or better barely does that, in my opinion. Because the effect of -1 cost for the turn... And you have to attach 1 Dawn, too. You have to attach 1 Dawn to this guy to give all your opponent's characters -1 for the turn. It just seems a little bit weak to me, personally. I'm just not a huge fan of it. It's not bad, but I'm just going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. And you guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. If there's a card in here you guys think I'm just crazy, like man, that card's way better than you said, you guys tell me down in the comment section below. Help me out. Because I might be missing something, too. Maybe there's, like, a really strong interaction. Okay, moving on. So next we have Jack. This is a 7 cost, 8,000 power, no counter, Animal Kingdom Pirates type character. This guy's big. 7 cost, 8,000 power. The effect is this character gains +4 cost. So really, you're playing this character as a 7 cost 8K, but he really acts like a 11 cost, like an 11 cost 8,000 power character. Very, very strong. And then activate main, you may rest this character, draw 1 card, and trash 1 card from your hand. Then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. Okay, this card is very strong. I have to say, okay, it has natural built-in protection against KO-based removal. It has an 8,000 power base body, and it is, you know, you can swing with that as well. It's harder for like a deck like Red Purple Law to pop this card. This card has a lot of protection, and then you can swing with it or use this effect. Like you can either activate main and rest this card to draw a card and trash a card, so you're cycling, and popping a 3 or less with that effect. Or later in the game, if he survives, you could just start swinging for 8s or even 9s with just a 1 Dawn investment. Yeah, I'm going to give this card a 9 out of 10. This card is outstanding. This card is really, really good. And I don't think there's any crazy 7-cost cards in black already. This might be the best 7-cost black card in the game, because I'm trying to think if there are any. We'll check at the end of the video if I remember. When we look at the deck on the sim, I'll bring up all 7-cost black characters. The only one I can even think of is 7-cost Luffy. And yeah, that's better in the Dressrosa engine, sure. But this card is just good, period. This is just a generically good card. It's not leader locked. Yeah, this card is outstanding. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Very, very strong card. Okay, and we got the alt art for it as well. Check out this alt art, man. This thing is crazy. It looks like it's like a geyser of fire, an eruption of fire wherever he's attacking with this. Like what does he have? Like some kind of like scythe? It's some type of scythe weapon that he has, and it looks like he's like causing the ground to just explode with whatever like powerful move he just did there. Looks awesome. Looks really cool. Good stuff here. Okay, so we go from this art over to this art. Interesting. Okay, but I'm not upset. I'm not upset with this art at all. Check out these waves back here, man. That just looks awesome. Okay, let's read what it is first. Jinbei, 5 cost, 6,000 power, no counter. Okay, Fishman type, Straw Hat Crew type. The effect is Dawn ×1 when attacking. If you have a character with a cost of 8 or more. Okay, I see what's going on here. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. So this goes with the, I think it's the ST14 mono black Luffy starter deck, the Straw Hat Crew Luffy deck. Well, okay, there's 2 of those, I think, technically, but it's the most recent one that came out where you're trying to increase the cost of your characters and you're still KOing your opponent's characters by, you know, buffing your characters and stuff like this. Still, the card, I have to at least try to judge the card in a vacuum, though. I'm not a huge fan of this one. I don't see why it couldn't have at least had a counter. You know what I mean? This effect is not insane. Or at least this. If they're going to make it a 5 cost 6k, at least make it a 5 cost 7k with no counter in this effect. But otherwise, it just seems a little lackluster to me personally. Because isn't there I think Sanji in that deck. I'm sorry, guys. I can't remember all the cards off the top of my head. But I believe there's a Sanji you'd already want in the 5 cost spot. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But as is, it's still better than nothing. You are losing your counter for a potentially very powerful when attacking effect. You guys know how I feel about when attacking effects. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to give this card just a very, very standard 5 out of 10. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good. I think it's just very average. And I think in some situations I would actually rather have a 5 cost 7k 1000 counter vanilla. But I'll still get a 5 out of 10. Okay, next up is Jin Rummy. Jin Rummy is a 2 cost, 3000 power, 1000 counter, Animal Kingdom Pirates type, and Smile type. On play, if your opponent has a character with a cost of 0, draw 2 and trash 2 from your hand. Okay, that's fine. I'm actually fine with this effect. I think this is actually pretty decent. Getting a character down to 0 just to use this effect is not. It's not ideal. I will tell you that right now, because like look at decks like Thriller Bark, Pirates. They have Inupe, I think his name is, where it's like a little 2 cost dog. I think it has the exact same stats. I believe it's something close to like 2 cost, 3000 power, 1k counter, and then just on play draw 2 trash 2, and on KO draw 2 trash 2. Excuse me. So I really don't like that this card requires such a hard stipulation. I think that's a little much. I would have rather them just lock this to Animal Kingdom Pirates. You know, like with make it a 2 cost, 1000 power, 1000 counter blocker with on play. If your leader is Animal Kingdom Pirates type, draw 2 trash 2. I'd rather them did something like this or like that over something like this, because the draw 2 trash 2. First of all, I already have that interaction, especially in like a purple black Animal Kingdom Pirates deck. Think about it. We already saw what. Let me go back a little bit. This guy can draw 1 trash 1 for free whenever you do his tap effect. You're already going to have access to Sabo. You're already going to have access to a card like Queen if you're running purple-black, like I said, purple-black Animal Kingdom Pirates type. This card, I feel like, just gets overshadowed by just way better effects. And guess what? The other thing to consider is I don't want to play this on turn 1 or 2. Turn 2, I always want to play my purple, the stage, Onigashima. And on turn 1, I'd rather play a Searcher. This is better than nothing. It's at least a draw 2 and trash 2 effect. But what are you going to be able... Like, you won't even be able to play this on turn 2 and do this effect, right? At least not with Animal Kingdom Pirates type, because when you play this out, no character is 0 cost. For those who are unaware, if there are any new players in the game, no character currently in the game costs 0. So you will have to invest 1 action in order to cause your opponent to go to 0, and then you can play this card out to get the effect. So like this isn't even a card you're going to want to play on curve. It's probably going to be a card you want to play like way later in the game. I mean, because even on, like, think about it, like what if you combo this with like a Gecko Moria? That would be your best possible case scenario. But still, how are you going to get one of their cards to 0? You know what I mean? Typically, I don't know. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. I'm not a huge fan of this. I'm actually going to give this a 3.5 out of 10. Because this effect is just unrealistic. And I don't know, I can't imagine justifying running this card in a deck. Yes, if you can, like, at least get it to go off normally, it would probably, if you can consistently get this to go off, maybe it's a 5 out of 10. Y'all tell me, but I'm sitting with a 3.5 out of 10. The safer bet would just be to put it average, but I'm going under. I just don't think this card's that good. And again, if I'm missing something, guys, or if I misread something, y'all help me out in the comment section below. Really great art, though. The art looks really good on this. Very clean. Okay, next up we have Scratchmen Apoo. Scratchmen Apoo is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter, blocker. Okay, I see blocker right here. Animal Kingdom Pirates / on-air Pirates. Very cool. Activate main once per turn. Give up to one of your opponent's characters -1 cost during this turn. So that's pretty good. Like that's pretty good. This is almost like Black's version of the green Urouge card or whatever his name is. That's kind of what this reminds me of. Like, they're probably going to do that. Just hear me out for a second, guys. I think what they'll probably start doing is every single color will get a 4-cost, 5,000 power card that's a blocker and a 1k counter, and then has some type of effect that is thematic for that color. And Urouge, hopefully I'm saying that right, from the green Supernova package from OP07, he is exactly these same stats, 4-cost, 5k, 1k counter, blocker, but his effect is, at the end of your turn, set up to when your Dawn is active. So that way it goes perfectly with your leader's effect. Scratchmen Apoo is exactly that, but like this is Black's version of that kind of synergy or, you know, theme. So very cool. I think this is a great card, actually. The question is, would you play this over a Borsalino? Even in an Animal Kingdom Pirates deck, would you play this card over a Borsalino? Would you play this card over a Kuzan? I understand that Kuzan's not a blocker, but that is a tough spot to battle with. The 4-cost spot is very tough to battle with, because you already have, okay, if you're running purple-black, any kind of Animal Kingdom Pirates type of hybrid, hybridized deck, think of all the 4-cost cards there. Borsalino, like I said, Kuzan, Rebecca, Reiju, what's the other 4-cost blocker? Law, Trafalgar Law. It's just a hard spot to fill, but I will say this card on paper is still like a 7.5 out of 10. I think this is a great card, but will it see play? I'm not exactly sure. We'll have to see. We will have to see. Look at this guy's arms, by the way. Okay. He's got 2 elbows. Interesting. This arm is what, yeah, so both of his arms, he has 2 different elbows. Very, very, very interesting. Okay, next up we have Duval. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 2,000 counter. Okay, it's a 2k counter. Flying Fish Riders. The effect is on play. Up to one of your characters gains +1 cost until the end of your opponent's next turn. Okay, so this goes back to the deck we were talking about earlier with Jinbei, where you're like trying to increase the cost of your characters to get bonuses. And I'm just not a big fan of that. I think it's interesting. We'll see how it pans out, right? Because there's not many cards out just yet. But I'll tell you what, this is a great 2k counter to put in a deck like that. Very solid in that regard. And it's a 2k counter. So at the end of the day, it's always useful. I'm going to go 7 out of 10 with this one. I think it's fine. I just think the on-play effect is a little bit lackluster. But it could help you, right? It could help you get off, you know, it could push a character to 8 so that you can get the benefits from something like Jinbei over here. Right? Because he can get to, actually, with that 2k counter, the stage and the leader effect, you would be able to get Jinbei to be an 8-cost character. So that there is some potential there, I guess. Good stuff. Like I said, 7 out of 10. I think it's fine. It's a 2k counter. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Okay, next up we have Basil Hawkins. This is a 7-cost, 9,000 power, 1,000 counter vanilla card. Animal Kingdom Pirates searchable. Hawkins Pirates as well. This card, absolutely solid. I'm going to give this card a 5 out of 10. It's just totally average. It's just a vanilla card. It's what we'd expect. Next up we have Hamlet. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1,000 counter, Animal Kingdom Pirates Smile type. and the effect is on play, play up to 1 Smile-type character card with a cost of 2 or less from your trash. Okay, that's interesting. Well, I don't know the entire, I don't know all of the Smile-type characters off the top of my head, obviously, but that's not bad because it's from the trash. I really like that. Let me just see what we've seen so far. Okay, this was a 2-cost Smile character, so maybe that will turn this card into something pretty decent. I'm looking for 2-cost cards first. This is Smile as well. Okay, so it seems like they're trying to make some little 2-cost Smile engine work. And that would be really interesting. Because one thing I wanted them to do... Sorry, guys, I'm just kind of blasting back to where we were. Give me just a second. One thing I wish they would do for every single color type, and they're probably working on it. I'm not saying they're not. But I would like to see every single class have a strong representation of each archetype in the game that is dedicated to a type. Sorry if that was confusing. Let me explain it very thorough, or much better here. You guys understand how there's aggro, mid-range, and control decks, right? There's aggro decks, mid-range decks, control decks, and some people would say there's combo decks, but that usually lines up with one of the others, or at least somewhere in between them, somewhere close in between. So hear me out. What if, like, for black, okay, since we're on the color black here, what if Navy was more of the control deck, Animal Kingdom Pirates was more of the aggro deck, and then CP9, or just CP, was more of the mid-range deck. So again, like aggro being like Animal Kingdom Pirates, Navy being control, and CP being more mid-range. And it would be nice if they built those types around those themes. So number one, there wouldn't be too much spillover. Because what we're seeing right now with like Thriller Bark and all that, we're seeing Gecko Moria in every single deck. So it's like, okay, this card is just so powerful. How can you make a black deck without it? And who knows, maybe in the future with power creep, who knows what's going to happen. But I think if they would dedicate each type to a specific archetype, again, I'm sorry that's confusing. If they dedicated each type to an archetype, I think it'd be better. So that way you don't have too much spillover to the other types. Okay, but whatever the case is, I think this card here, I think is a 7 out of 10. Actually, I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10 because I don't think it's like crazy or broken, and you're gonna have to build an entire deck around it. It's not leader locked, but it is type locked to Smile type characters. But who knows? Maybe in the future there will be some crazy combo where you go Gecko Moria into like 4 different Smile characters through an effect like this. That could be very interesting. Okay, but other than that, very solid. Like I said, 6.5 out of 10. Did I rate the last one? Yeah, okay. All right, next up we got Who's Who. This is a 5-cost, 5,000 power, 2,000 counter, Animal Kingdom Pirates, and former CP9 type. Okay, on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand to KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. Okay, so this is a souped-up version of T-Bone, and it has a trigger. Trigger, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. Wow. So this card is a 9.5 out of 10. Okay? I'm sorry, this is like one of the most useful cards I've ever seen. It's a 2k counter in hand. It has a trigger. It's a 5-cost, 5,000 power body, which is not a bad thing. 5 being a very, very nice number, because think about if you're playing against a deck like Perona. That way they can't tap your guy down unless they invest further to get him down. But in general, this card is really good, guys. It has KO built into it. It's a 2k counter. It's a 5-cost 5k, so it can swing. Has a trigger. This thing, I mean, the lowest I would give this card is like a 9 out of 10. This will probably be in every single black deck moving forward. Even though you have to trash a card to KO, it's hitting a card that is 1 more than T-Bone does. T-Bone, by the way, we'll have to see how things go in the future, but I wouldn't be surprised if like your auto-include 2k counters for any deck running black going forward is going to be 4 Who's Who's and 4 T-Bone. Think about that for a second, guys. That is 8 cards in your deck. That is 8 2k counters that are also 5k bodies that can swing later, and they have KO just already built in. So you can dedicate more to things like cost reduction to keep your KO consistent. Seems really good, guys. And this one even has the trigger. This even has the Ice Age trigger of KOing a 3 or less. So, KOing a 3 or less. This card is so good. Really, really strong. Okay, next up. Next up we have Page 1. This is a 5-cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter. Animal Kingdom Pirates type. On play, play up to 1 ulti with a cost of 4 or less from your trash. Okay, hang on now. This could be interesting in the future. What if you counter out of an attack early with the 2K counter? The purple, is this color locked? Let me see something. Play up to 1 ulti. No, it's not. Play up to 1 ulti with a cost of 4 or less from your trash. And is ulti, guys, I'm sorry, I have to like just click on it right now. This is ulti, right? Yeah. So there's a purple 4 cost, 5,000 power 2K counter ulti that can cheat out a page 1 that costs 4 or less. 4 or less. So imagine, guys, let me go back to where we were. So imagine if you hit this, like you played this, brought back the 2K counter from your trash, Dawn -1 that effect to bring out a 4 cost page 1, you know, the 4 cost 6K page 1. That would be really, really powerful tempo. That might be something to mess with, guys. I've not even thought about anything like this yet. I haven't even read all these cards. I'm learning a lot of these new cards with you guys. But this card could be really interesting in some type of purple-black mid-range high tempo deck. This could be really interesting. And again, think about it. If your counters are this, where they're built-in removal, and your leader has cost reduction built in, there could be something there, like a very low-to-the-ground mid-range deck that just, you know, floods the board and just blows up whatever. You just KOs whatever's on the board. I'm going to give this card, I mean, other than that, it does require setup. If there's no ulti in your trash, this is just a 5 cost 5K with a 1K counter, which is not bad either. It at least has a counter. But I will say, like, I think this card has a lot of potential, but I'm still going to go a little bit low with it. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 because there is absolutely setup required in order to make this card, like, really go off. You have to build an entire deck around it, basically, to make it function. And then how good will that deck be? We'll have to find out. We'll have to see. Okay. So what did I say? I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think I said 6 out of 10. Okay, next up we have X-Drake. So this is a 4 cost, 6,000 power card. It is Navy and Animal Kingdom Pirates searchable, and Drake Pirates. There's not much of that right now. So 4 cost, 6K, no counter, but you can search it up with Navy or Animal Kingdom Pirates. That's interesting. We always need to keep stuff like that in we have to consider stuff like that. The effect is Dawn ×1. This character gains +2 cost. Okay. I am not a huge fan of that at all. That is a non-effect as far as I'm concerned. I understand it will help him get around removal. I get it. I know why it's there. I totally, fully understand why it's there. But I'm looking for an effect that can help me take care of the board. Because I'm just here to tell you guys, for those who play this game, you're not saving any of your characters. The turn you drop Gecko Moria, it's probably getting KO'd, right? Like, I mean, I understand there's situations where it does not get KO'd, but if your opponent's trying to remove a character, they're probably going to be able to do it. Their deck is going to be built around removing characters if that's what they're trying to do, and I don't see this card having a chance. I guess it has a better chance than normal, maybe when you're playing it on curve, if you get it on turn 3, and you're, you know, going first or second, going 3. On turn 3, you'll either be on 5 Dawn or 6 Dawn. Either one's fine because you could attach 1 Dawn and swing, or well, you can't swing on the turn it's played obviously, but you know, you attach 1 Dawn and now it's a 6 cost character. It is at least vanilla statted, but you lose the 1K counter for that effect. I'm just gonna give it a 5 out of 10, guys. I think this card is extremely mediocre, extremely average, almost worse than average because you lose the counter. Okay, we're on the events. So now we got Imperial Flame. Let me make sure you guys can see good. Okay, yeah, good deal. So this is a 2 cost Animal Kingdom Pirates type of event. It has the effect of main or counter. Okay, main or counter. You may place 3 cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. So just like Rob Lucci. And then KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. And the trigger activates the main effect. Okay, that is really interesting. I like it more as a main effect than I do anything else, because as a main effect, you know, you'll be able to reduce the cost of the character, right? Whereas if your opponent is attacking into you, yes, you can pop a 2 or less character, but at the same time, what if they don't have any 2 or less characters? Because, I mean, a 2 cost or less character is basically just 2K counters or 1 cost, you know, 1 cost or 2 cost searchers. That's really all they are. I guess unless you're talking about a blitz deck, like some type of rush deck could have some low-cost characters. And for those who are unaware, let me explain how the rules work real quick on something. So say you have 2 Dawn up and you're using this as a counter. Say your opponent, they're trying to swing for game and they have a 2 cost or lower character. They put all 10 Dawn on that character. They turn it sideways and attack for 12K or 14, something like 12, 13K, whatever, right? Well, if you use this effect to KO that character, because notice it says KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters. Yeah, it doesn't matter if they're rested or active. If you KO that character that's attacking, the damage does not happen because they were KO'd before the damage happens. I probably said that clumsy, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying, and if not, just ask in the comment section below. But yeah, if your opponent loads up everything on a 2-cost or lower character and you pop them with this as a counter, that card is KO'd and the attack fizzles. It does not resolve. You do not lose any life from that. Excuse me. But as is, I'm just going to give this like a 6.5 out of 10. It's like a tricky move. I like that it's like a very tricky effect, but it's not insane. You're having to put 3 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck just to KO a 2 or less. It's like, well, I believe there's a 2-cost card that has like some ridiculously long name. I'll try to remember to find it when we're looking at the deck at the end for Smoker. But there's a 2-cost card that also gives plus 3,000 and KOs a 2 or less. And you don't have to put any cards to the bottom of your deck. But you do have to have a character that's 8 or more in play for that effect. Anyway, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10 or a 6.5 out of 10. I don't think this is incredible, but I don't think it's horrible either. Okay, next up we have Iron Body Fang Flash. Okay, this is a 2-cost Animal Kingdom Pirates former CP9 type character, or excuse me, type event. And the effect is main if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, up to one of your characters gains plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. This is not a counter. This is a main effect. So if you have 10 or more cards in the trash, one of your characters will be plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So, you know, not terrible, but also not really, not something I'm ever going for, right? I mean, let me talk about it more in a second. Let me read the trigger. The trigger is up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. Now, the trigger is not bad. The trigger says, okay, if they swung into me, you know, I'm a 5,000 power base, you know, base power leader. They swing into me, I take it, and I get this trigger. Now I have a 7,000 power leader until the end of the turn. That's pretty good. The trigger's fine. But the main effect is not. The main effect, why I would just rather attach 2 Dawn to my character or leader. And well, this only does character, by the way. But I'd rather just attach the 2 Dawn that this costs. Just attach that to the character and swing for plus 2,000. Like, I don't care about protecting a character that much on my opponent's turn. It's just not relevant to me. I guess maybe it would be good to combo with like a blocker or something. Like maybe if you combo this with like a Borsalino or some type of queen blocker. I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of this. I'm going to be honest. I think it's almost a waste. Well, I don't know. Okay, let me try to make this work. All right, here we go. I just thought of like the best case scenario in my head on the spot that I could come up with. Maybe you're playing Black-Green Isho. You pay 2 for this effect and put on your Borsalino or your Hina. You swing for, you know, 7 or 8, whichever character you put it on, maybe even Sabo, right? So swing for 7, swing for 8, whatever it is, and then in a turn, stand the character back up. That's the best possible situation I could think of for this effect, because then your blocker will be an 8k on your opponent's turn, whether it was Borsalino, Hina, or Sabo. So, again, not horrible, but it's kind of, it seems very, you know, very specific. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm still going to give it like a 5.5 out of 10, though, because it's not a total waste. It's just a little bit wonky, in my opinion. Okay, next up, we got People's Dreams Don't Ever End. Okay, this is a 1-cost Blackbeard Pirates type of event, guys. Okay, I did talk about this in a previous video when it was spoiled. I didn't really go over the effect all that much, but that type, Blackbeard Pirates, so now we know they've got that on the horizon. They've got that in their mind right now. They want to put a Blackbeard Pirates type leader into the game potentially, right? Or at least the type. Can't wait to see that if that does happen. A lot of people are excited about that. Okay, anyway, back to the card. The effect is counter. So 1-cost counter, trash 1 card from the top of your deck. Okay, so you're going to trash the top card of your deck. If the trash card has a cost of 6 or more. Okay, guys, I think I just figured out this is probably going to be a blue-black leader. Okay, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, we don't know. We don't know. But trash 1 card from the top of your deck. If the trash card has a cost of 6 or more, up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 5,000 power during this bout. This is a 1-cost 5k if you can meet that stipulation. So I would not be surprised, guys, hear me out. I would not be surprised if Blackbeard is a blue-black leader, like hybrid, you know, or dual color leader. I would not be surprised, because if he can start setting cards on the top of his deck, and then you use this an effect like this. Whew, that's big, guys. That is huge. Now, it also has a trigger. Play up to 1 black character card with a cost of 3 or less from your trash. Man, this would make a lot of sense as a blue-black deck, guys. That would just be crazy, man. Just, you know, trashing cards from the top of your deck after setting them there to get huge buffs like this, and then recurring them back later with the other effects. or even triggers like this, that'd be really, really cool. Hopefully, you guys tell me what y'all think about that. You think I'm onto something there? Maybe not. I could not be. I have no idea. I don't get any special spoilers. I'm just telling you, like, that's what I think. Man, speaking of that, I got to go off on a small tangent real quick. You know, in some other TCGs, I think like Flesh and Blood, sometimes the content creators get spoilers to show off before they're actually released. That'd be so cool if Bandai did something like that for us. I don't think they will because we're a whole set behind the East anyway. But still, I think that'd be so cool. All right, so anyway, back to what I was saying. I have no idea if this is going to be true or not, but y'all tell me if y'all think I'm onto something or not, you know, with this, with that leader idea. As far as this card goes, a 1-cost 5,000 power counter, yep, I think this card's real strong. Now, it will come down to how are you going to be able to set this up. Now, who knows? I mean, a card like this could even make you change the direction you build Rebecca, because this is way, way better than Barrier if you can make sure to set a 6-cost or higher card. Cost of 6 or higher on top of your deck the turn you're trying to defend with this. So who knows? Maybe there ends up being like a Rebecca variant, like blue-black Rebecca is what I'm talking about, guys. The leader already in the game from OP08. Maybe you're going to be able to play out like Dofi, the 3-cost Dofi, set your top 5 cards. That way you can even use your leader effect, and then you know what the top card's going to be for your next turn, or will at least combo with this. Like maybe it ends up being a 7-cost Luffy. Okay, use this as a 1-cost 5k counter. Luffy goes to the trash, play out Rebecca next turn, get the Luffy back. You see what I'm saying? Like that could be really, really interesting and really, really cool. Okay, so I'm giving this card, though. It does require setup, so I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. But who knows? Once we see it, you know, if there's ever a Blackbeard leader, like we can all pretty much, you know, guess there's probably going to be, I think this could be really strong in a deck that's geared for it. Okay, next up we have Heliceratops. Am I saying that right? Heliceratops? I don't know, guys. It's a 3-cost Animal Kingdom Pirates event with the effect of main. If your leader has the Animal Kingdom Pirates type, give up to one of your opponent's characters -2 cost during this turn, then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 0. The trigger is KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. I guess that's where they've decided they want Black's event triggers to be at, because I know there are some that are bigger than that, like Impact Wave can KO a 4 or less, but KOing a 3 or less, it's better than nothing, but I do wish it was a 4 or less, because green cards can like tap down a 4 or less typically, or even just any character, because it's you know, resting a character is seen more as a form of like soft removal, because yeah, it can get a blocker out of your way, or tap down a character so you can attack into it, but it doesn't remove the character by itself. Now you have to invest something into KOing it. But I do wish they had settled on 4, so that way you can hit anything that they played on turn 2 or before, no matter which turn they went. But it's better than nothing. The actual main effect, if the main event effect here, if your leader's Animal Kingdom Pirates type, they're limiting this to only Animal Kingdom Pirates. So I don't like that. It's a 3-cost KO a 2 or less built in. If you can combo this with your leader, it can KO a 4 or less. I'm just going to give this like a 6 out of 10. I just don't think this is crazy, but I also don't think it's bad. Let me see one thing real quick. Yeah, this was a counter. I would say if this was a main / counter, it would just be insane. Sorry, guys. Okay. So I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's that great. Okay, and that was the last one. Now we have the one of the special art cards. We got Tashigi here. Nice. This is the classic 3-cost, 4,000 power, 2k counter Tashigi. Activate main, rest this character, -2 to a character for the turn. Navy type, of course. Okay, this one looks really good. Yeah, a lot of flowers in these I've noticed. Like from all the different special ones I've seen, it looks like they really like the little flower patterns. Looks good. Looks really nice. This one's got more of like a diamond shaped. Now I think last time we saw Queen, and it had more of a hexagonal or a hexagonal shape down here. Remember, and it was kind of hard to actually see the color wheel in that one because the hexagons kind of blended in with it. But this one has more of like a diamond shape at the top right. Very cool. And I love those clouds, guys. I'm a big fan of that traditional Japanese Asian style clouds. Looks really good. Okay, and I think that's it. Yep, that's it. All right. So just to give a quick overview, I like to talk about the black cards. That's the color that got me into the game. Once I saw these black cards, I was in. It just like the color that KOs. I played almost exclusively black decks when it came to Magic the Gathering. It's just the color that I go with. I don't know why. I just like the color in the game. And so of course I had to spend, you know, we got to spend a little bit of time overviewing the whole thing. I'll skip over the vanilla stuff. I think this Kaido is going to be awesome. Okay, the Queen's just a searcher. That's going to be solid. Not a big fan of Guernica. This just a good 2K counter. Sheepshead, I was not a huge fan of. Jack, outstanding. This card is excellent. Great parallel art. Not a huge fan of Jinbei and the whole cost increase for your cards. Not a huge fan. I was not a big fan of Jin Rummy. Scratchmen Apoo is going to be a great card, but is it going to see play? It's battling with a lot of different cards at the 4 cost. We'll have to see. Duval was whatever. Is more of a 2K counter for the cost increased decks. Basil Hawkins, just a good vanilla. Hamlet was interesting. Like I said, if they choose to make like some type of like low to the ground aggro black deck that has removal built in, this could be a really good card in that deck. Who's Who? This is like probably the best 2K counter that black has. This and Perona are probably the best 2K counters that black has access to, if I had to guess. And T-Bone might be right there. Subaru, see, oh man, it's getting hard. It's getting hard to pick what 2K counter is the best one. Okay, page 1. This one was all right. It required a little bit of setup, but could potentially be very strong in the right kind of tempo deck with the right pool. X-Drake, I was not happy with the way this card was. Not a big fan of that one. I like when cards have evasion and like resilience, but this is not my idea of that. Right, I'm not a big fan of this. I actually would have liked it more if there was no Dawn Times 1 effect. If it was just this character has +2 cost. Then I think I probably would have gave it like a 7 out of 10, and it still probably wouldn't have seen play, but it would have been better than how it is now with no counter. Okay, Imperial Flame. This card was okay, not horrible. And the same idea, real quick, with Heliceratops. They're both like these low, well, not low cost. This is a 3 cost, pop a 2 or less. This is and then the Imperial Flame was 3 cost, pop a 2 or less. So, kind of decent, but at the same time, it's becoming hard to justify running events that KO when you have characters that KO. So what would you rather do? Play out a 2-cost event that pops a 2 or less, or play out a 3-cost character like Brook that pops a 1 or less, and then you could build your deck around that because now it has tempo. It's becoming hard to justify running these events that pop cards, and that's why I think that's why they printed cards like 200 million Volsamaru, like Houndblaze, because now, okay, that's an event that does like 2 things. So I'm getting more than my Dawn's worth. I'm getting extra value from it, and then it becomes worth running. But this card, it's hard to justify removal. It has to have a very strong effect with it, in my opinion, to get high value. This card was kind of weird. I was not a huge fan. This card is very strong if you're able to put it into like a blue-black deck where you set your top cards from your deck. Okay, and I think that's it. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some decks from over in the East. We're going to see how these new cards have affected the meta over there. Hang on one second. Let me move that. Okay, now you guys can see, right? All right, let me go back to show you guys how I got here. I'm on OnePieceTopDecks.com, and then you click on deck list. I'm on OP08, of course, because that's what we're talking about. And then I just brought up, we're going to look at, what's his name, Lucci and Gecko. There are not a lot of results out yet, guys, because this format is only like 2 weeks old now over in the East. All right, so we're going to look at a few of these decks for Lucci, and then actually we'll do the Gecko one first and then Lucci. Okay, and I really just want to focus on the new cards. Like, for example, this deck has no new cards. So this person, whoever went to this tournament, they probably just came with whatever cards they had from OP07 and said, I'm just going to play a deck that I know works. You know, I'll just play Gecko, and they end up winning a 63-player tournament by playing an OP07 version of Gecko Moria. Very solid, though. We know this is a tried and true deck, right, guys? This deck just works. It does what it's supposed to do, and it's very consistent and very solid. Okay, so moving on from there, Lucci, though, I know has seen some changes. We'll kind of blast through all these real quick and focus again on the newer cards. See, again, okay, no, this one does have new cards, excuse me. Most of the deck is still what we've already seen. We've already seen all these Navy and, you know, the CP engine with a little bit of Gecko Moria support. But then as far as like the new stuff goes, this deck only splashed 5 new cards. And hey, that's fine, right? Until we figure out what is like the absolute best way to run it. It's running 2 of that new Jack card. Outstanding, right? This card is so good. And imagine this with Lucci and the stage. I think there's probably going to be 2 main versions of Lucci. There's probably, just like how there were for Sakazuki. There's going to be a stage Sakazuki, and then more of like the event cost reduction Sakazuki. I think stage Lucci is going to be a real thing. Like, I think that is the way to go, because first of all, it gives you something to aggressively mulligan for. Like, if you get Innie's Lobby in your opening hand, you keep it. If you did not get this card in your opening hand, then you mulligan. Unless maybe you got like a Brook or something like that. It's hard to say. I would just mulligan, I'm going to be honest. Because if you're running the stage version, you want the stage. The card's that good. Because now, like with a card such as Jack on the board, now it's like, okay, swing with my leader, -1, tap my stage, -2. Now you're popping a 6 or less. And if you played this on curve, that's whatever they played last turn, right? So that's just massive. And now you're cycling cards, which, you know, Lucci loves to be able to cycle cards. It fills up his trash for his Lucci effects, for Kaku, for where's the other cards in here? Spandine. It fills up stuff for that. It does quite a bit. Yeah, and then of course it's running this new 2K counter. This card, guys, is just absolutely, it is outrageously good, right? This card is just incredible. And with this leader, hey, look, it pops a 3 or less. So again, just like I was saying, if you need removal, like if you didn't have removal in your hand outside of this, okay, well, guess what? You have removal. You're going to be able to do exactly what I just said, -2 with the stage, -1 with the leader, pop a 6 or less. And that's on a 2K counter, and now you have a 5K body. Just really, really strong. And then everything else seems like it's about the same. Okay, let's go to the next one. This was in a 3-on-3 tournament. I expect everything to be about roughly the same. Okay, yeah, look at this one. So this one only ran the 2K counter. It didn't even run the new Jack card, which I do think Jack is the way to go, by the way. I do think Jack is the way to go in Lucci, especially if you're running the stage already. Why not? But this 2K counter is incredible. Of course it's in there. And this one is running the new, this is the OP07 Rob Lucci. It's a 5-cost 6K, 1K counter. You may place 3 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. Your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand, and then you may place up to 1 card from your opponent's trash at the bottom of their deck. So maybe that helps you play around the mirror match and push like Lucci's to the bottom of their deck, or push Hamlet Apoos to the bottom of their deck, or Rebecca's, whatever you need. I think this card is very good. It's a 5-cost 6K. It's CP searchable. It's just solid. But I will say, we know this card's good, but I would have liked to have seen, maybe even, well, I don't know, Sabo has like its own version of Tempo, like built into it, but I would like to see Jack enter into a deck like this. Okay, and who knows, maybe the guy didn't draw any Jacks when he popped their cards open. Because, hey, these guys over in the East, they're humans just like us, right? They might not have the cards when they want them. Okay, now this deck is running the most cards, or actually it's running 6. It's running 1 more than we saw from the other one of the new cards. It's running, I think the last one was running like 3 Who's Who's and 2 Jacks. This one's running 2 Who's Who, 2 Jacks, and 2 Kaidos. Kaido, we saw what this one does. Pause and read it if you forgot already. It is kind of a technical one. But being able to hit their hand and the board, and guys, with this character, I think I mentioned it when we were going over it, in Lucci, this is a 9-cost card. If you have the stage down, this is a 9-cost card that pops anything in the game. Because remember, it doesn't KO it, it trashes it. So they're not getting an on KO effect. It doesn't matter if it has evasion, unless it has special evasion like how Enel is. Or Basil Hawkins, I think, also has evasion like that. But still, very, very solid. Then everything else looks the exact same. Again, guys, like it looks like this is probably all they will include from the new stuff. And I actually like this, a little 6-card package. Though I wouldn't mind seeing more Who's in there. Well, I don't know, actually. I say that, but this, I've already talked about this Kaku. This Kaku is just great. This card is just great. It's good for cost reductions. That way you can KO stuff like with Jack or KO stuff with Kaido. Just really, really good. And you wouldn't want to combo this with another 2K counter because, yeah, I mean, you are technically KOing a lot of cards. Or you have the chance to KO a pretty big card with that effect because leader's -1. I think Kaku's -3. Yeah, so -4. And then if you have stage 6, you'd be able to pop a 9. If you have leader attack plus stage and you used Kaku's effect on play and then used Who's Who, you can pop a 9 or less with that effect, with that cost reduction. But you're losing 3 cards from your hand because you're playing out Kaku, which is putting 3 cards from your trash back to the bottom of your deck. Or is it 2? It's 2 cards, excuse me. But then, so this is a card from hand, this is a card from hand, and this causes you to trash a card from hand if you want to use the effect. Really, really powerful. Okay, let's look at one more list. And if you guys want to analyze these, just go to the website and check them out for yourself. You can, this is OnePieceTopDecks.com. Okay, so again, this one's kind of like the first list we looked at, I think. Actually, no, it's running 4 Jacks and 4 Who's Who's. So very good, and I agree, guys. This card is a monster. This card is an absolute beast in this deck because, like I said, if you have your Innie's Lobbies down, you are just tapping every turn, leader effect plus stage effect, With Jack, you're popping a 6 or less every turn and drawing a card and trashing a card, cycling through your deck to get, to get to more Morias, to get to more Sabos, to get to more Jacks. Just incredible. Okay, really good stuff there. All right, guys, that's it for the East part. Let's go ahead and check out a quick game on the sim. Just a fun game on the sim, playing Smoker, because why not? Why not? Hang on, let me make sure my head's right there. Okay, and we are good to go. Volume's off. Let me check the speed real quick. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so this is just a fun deck, guys. Someone said they wanted to see a Smoker game in my last comments, and hey, whenever you guys comment, I do read it. Now, I don't want to make any promises. I'm not like, oh yeah, whatever you say in there, I'm going to build. No, but this one actually was pretty interesting to me to mess around with the new OP08 stuff. And just, I mean, who's messed around with a Smoker deck since Gecko Moria's been in, right? Or since Lucci's been in, or since Sakazuki's been in. It's just a little bit of fun. Okay, so he's going to swing 8 at me. I was tempted to counter out of that just to keep my hand size low because you never know. Maybe they're playing Isho or something. I just have no idea. So right here I swing 5 into King, and I play out Perona. Guys, I've said it before. I think this is one of the best 2K counters in the game, and then we get Who's Who. So now it's like, okay, I'll just run both. And I'll run T-Bone. And in this deck, I also run one more 2K counter. I think I run 4 Subarus as well. I'm running 16 2K counters in this deck. Why not? One of them hits my opponent's hand. The other, 2 of them KO characters on the board. And you'll see, guys, I mean, I do it this whole game. By the way, y'all see I got a little bit of spice in my hand there. I probably should have just left 2 Dawn up and let my opponent attack and then KO'd Black Maria in that way. But I didn't want to take any chances. So right here, I'm just going to swing there. Or I'm going to swing 6. I'm going to -1 to the Black Maria. I'm going to pop it with the T-Bone. I didn't use the Who's Who because you have to trash a card from hand. I don't want to just start giving cards away from my hand. I'm not trying to do that. But, if I have to, I have to. But now's not the time. In my mind, that's what I was thinking. Is like, yeah, this is not the time to do it. He swings 6 into 5. Nope. 2K counter. Swing 5 into it. Nope. I'm not letting you have it because I have too much tempo. I have 2 5,000 power bodies on the board. I swung brand new into his searcher for free. 5 into 5. 5 into 5. Okay, and he just did a search real quick. That's what we're waiting on. He's just doing a top 5 search with that event. 5 into 5. And guess what I'm about to play, guys? I have 8 Dawn active. You guessed it. I go ahead and just play out a brand new and a Brook just to draw a card here. I probably should have got the T-Bone looking back, but I wanted to put down that Smoker just in case my opponent played the okay, he just played Kaido, which would have KO'd my Smoker. That would have been funny because it doesn't KO. Remember, it trashes. But hear me out. I was going to play out my my Smoker this next turn if he had dropped down the new 10-cost Kaido Lin card from purple from OP08. But okay, so right here, he reduces the cost of my Gecko Moria, and now it's a 6 cost. He can trash it with the Kaido's effect, and now I have to trash a card from hand. No problem. I'm actually just going to go sideways here. Now watch what happens. This is kind of funny. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if he takes this first hit, then I'm probably going all in. Okay, he counters out with a 2K, though. I was like, wait a minute. Let me swing for 5 more. He takes it, so I'm like, okay, there's no way he has counter. Swing for 7. He actually had a 3K there. And right here, so I do this a little bit, okay, pause. I do this a little bit the wrong way. Technically speaking, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Dawn left. I should have put 4 Dawn on brand new first to swing for 7, and then put the remaining 3 Dawn on my leader to swing for 8. Because watch what happens. This guy, I don't know if he's trolling or what, but watch what he does here. He gets a Who's Who trigger. KOs my Brook. It's like, okay, remember, that can KO a 3 or less. He should have popped my brand new, which, by the way, I don't care at all. He can pop that thing if he wants to. It literally doesn't matter to me, because this next turn, I was just going to drop out Smoker and end the game. So I actually considered just pretending like he KO'd my brand new like he was supposed to do. And then, I was just going to play out Smoker, but I'm like, you know what? No, we're just going to end it. It's like, hey, man, GG. Because maybe that was a learning lesson from there where he didn't think I would invest into swinging with my brand new. I have no idea. But maybe he thought I was going to drop a Sabo and I wouldn't think about swinging. You just never know because you're not talking to the player. GG, though. Okay, now let's go ahead and check out the list so we can wrap up this video. Let me move my face. There we go. So this is the list I was just running. I was messing around with the Shockwaves because I've been seeing a lot. I think I mentioned this earlier in the video. I've been seeing tons of aggro decks. Zoro running the new Animal Pirates, or no, not Animal Kingdom Pirates, the new Animal cards, excuse me. Zoro running the new animal package, like the whole animal drum island package, is very brutal right now. I might have to do a video on that soon. Same thing with Red Green Chopper. Red Green Chopper running that package, it's pretty aggressive, guys. It's pretty strong. So I was running these shockwaves in order to deal with that, hopefully. I'm running the Who's Who's. I'm running the T-Bones. I have a lot of ways to KO. I'm only running 2 Marineford's right now. I'd like to go up on these. I think I might even drop down. Like, if I were to make some quick revisions, it would be, let me type in Marine. See if it brings up. Nice. Yeah. So I'd probably go down to this right away, or maybe even like this, because I need the Marineford. Like, I just straight up need it, right? It's necessary. It's absolutely necessary, because then your Brooks are stronger, your T-Bones, your Who's Who's, and like I said, I'm running 16 2K counters, guys. 4 Suru, 4 Perona, 4 T-Bone, 4 Who's Who's. I'm running 4 Smokers right now because there's a lot of KO in the format, like with the decks running anything running black, and this is a 7,000 power character, so it's also very hard for Law to deal with. And you know how it is, guys. If you connect one time with a double attack, you are that much closer to winning the game. I mean, who here's played against Yamato? You guys know how that goes. But yeah, this is what I'm messing with currently. This is not finished. This is not like a finalized deck. I'm not saying this is some S-tier deck, but it was a lot of fun to play. It's fun. You know, Smoker's one of those first leaders that I got into the game with, because Black was what got me into this game. So I got to mess around with Smoker back then, ST06 Sakazuki, and all that good stuff. All right. That's it for this, guys. There were some cards I wanted to, I thought I was going to look up. I can't even remember now, guys. I know I was going to look up one event. There was one event I was going to look at. That was the 2 cost, this one. This was the 2 cost KO a 2 or less card I was talking about when referencing the 2 cost event coming out for Animal Kingdom Pirates. That I feel like it was just a worse version of this. But the stipulation on this one is you have to have an 8 cost or higher character in play. I don't know. I don't want to get too technical with it. But yeah, this list is interesting. But the question becomes this: who would you rather run? Let me type in leader real quick for the black cards. Who would you rather run between? All right, for black options. Remember, all that this leader's effect does. Pause it and read it if you don't know. You attach 1 Dawn, activate your main, and give -1 to a character, and then if there's a 0 cost or lower character, well, excuse me, just 0 cost character in play, now he gets plus 1,000 for the turn. It's not even for till your opponent's next turn like Red Green Odin is. No, it's just for that turn attacking, and then that's it. And I wish they would revisit this leader and just print a better version where it's what I said, where it's like Dawn ×1, activate main, once per turn, give up to 1 of your opponent's characters -1 to their cost for this turn. Then if there is a character with a cost of 0 in play, this leader gains plus 1,000 power until the start of your next turn. That's how I wish it was worded instead of during this turn. Because then it would be worth running. Because currently, why would you run that card over this one? That becomes the logic. And again, I'm not trying to, hey, play whatever leader you want to, please. I don't think people should be stuck to playing meta. You should be playing what's fun to you. And this leader does have advantages over Rob Lucci, but Rob Lucci has advantages over Smoker. The main advantage that, Smoker has is, with it being the Navy package, brand new can actually search up the stage. For those who are not aware, let me bring up the stage real quick. What's it called? Ennie's Lobby, I think is what it's called. Yeah. This is a world government stage, so you can't search this up with Spandam. So that is like one small perk, and this Marineford has a -1. This is a 1 cost card, right? So you can play it to -1 and then activate main right away to do -2 right away, and then you can activate here to swing for 6. So like this one will allow you to potentially swing bigger than Lucci can, but it's not a huge advantage. And I'm not trying to argue like, hey guys, play this over Lucci. I'm not trying to argue that. I'm just saying if you want to play Smoker, you should absolutely do that, guys. That's a big thing I try to do on this channel is I want to get people to play decks that are not meta. Try to have fun, especially at locals. Hey, if you're going to a big tournament and you paid money to go there, I totally understand. And I'm not telling you to go to that tournament with this deck, right? I totally get that. But hey, if you're just going to a local to have fun with your friends, because that's what locals is supposed to be for. Try out new cool decks, have fun with your friends, play something janky, play something crazy. That's I'm always trying to, I'm a big, off-meta enthusiast, for those who are not aware. And I get it too, guys. I do understand people who are saying, like, yeah, well, losing's not fun. I get that. But if you want to become a better player, play with a deck that does have a small handicap. Play a deck like Smoker. Play a deck like Black Yellow Linland and try to win with that, and you'll get better at the game just trying to force a win where there probably isn't one. And I feel like that has helped me through like Magic, through Hearthstone, and now through One Piece. Like when I used to play Magic the Gathering, I was playing nothing but mono black decks or at least some type of black deck. Like I think the first deck that I ever topped a tournament with, where I got top 8 in a big, just like a local 50-player tournament, was a white-black. I say Orzhov, but it wasn't Orzhov, even though that's their colors. It was from Eventide, like the Shadowmoor Eventide set back with Lorwyn. I was playing like Nip Gwillion on turn 1. That's just a 1-cost 1/1 with lifelink, and I was trying to go double Edge of Divinity by turn 2 to swing for 7 lifelink and just GG. Like I was always trying to make jank like that work, and like I said, guys, I ended up topping because people didn't see it coming. Especially, I'm not going to go into TCG detail, don't worry, guys. But you hit him like a turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Tide Hollow Schooler, turn 3 Night Sky Mimic. Okay, anyway, sorry, that I went crazy with Magic for a second there. Y'all bear with me, okay? I'm a little bit of nostalgia hit me there, but guys, playing decks that are underpowered at locals is like one of the best things you can do, because it's going to make you better at the game, and it's going to make you better at building decks, which could help you build better meta decks when you get to that point. Okay, this old man's done with rambling. As usual, guys, please tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Let's just please keep it civil. Let's not be disrespectful. Like, you know, we're all humans, guys. Big shout out to anyone who supports this channel. Thank you guys so much. If you're just liking, you know, viewing, subscribing, sharing, if you're doing any of that, you're helping me, okay? And a big shout out to these guys over here on the patrons page who help me in even more ways than that. You guys are amazing. Okay, I'm done. Please do not forget to like and subscribe if you've not already. Until next time, guys. Peace.